इसलिए कि इसमें अल्लाह फरमाते हैं वअज़्ज़िन फिन्नासि बिलहज्जि यअतूका रिजालन वअला कुल्लि ज़ामिर यअतीना मिन कुल्लि फज्जिन अमीक। लोग announce हज among people, ऐलान दो हज का। लोग हज करने के लिए पैदल आएंगे on foot, और every lean and weak camel के ऊपर भी आएंगे। दूर दूर के रास्तों को तय कर दिया है। यहाँ आगे क्या करेंगे? लियशहदू मनाफिअ लहुम, यहाँ इनके बहुत से मनाफे हैं, उसका मुशाहदा करेंगे, देखेंगे कि यहाँ क्या क्या नफा है, क्या क्या बेनिफिट है, यहाँ आने की क्या क्या फायदा है। वयज़कुरु स्मल्लाहि फी अय्यामिन मालूमात, और अल्लाह का नाम लेंगे। Remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them rizq of the four-legged animals, cattle, enjoying their meat. فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا, eat their flesh. وَأَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرَ, and feed the needy, the destitute as well. ثُمَّ لْيَقْضُوا تَفَثَهُمْ, then they should remove the dirt and filth from their bodies. وَلْيُوفُوا نُذُورَهُمْ, and they should fulfill their oaths and vows which they have done. Keep them. وَلْيَطَّوَّفُوا بِالْبَيْتِ الْعَتِيقِ, and they should go round the ancient house. Allah mentioned Hajj. This is not a Hajj bayan, otherwise we would have gone into the tafseer of these verses. We're just talking about why this surah is named Suratul Hajj, because it's got Hajj rituals, manasik in there. Manasikul Hajj. Ajarak mahfuz hai, that means to give me sugar. I say yes, sugar. It's not level. Level sugar. Adu jarak mahfuz. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told first of all Ibrahim alayhi salam to build the house. وَإِذْ بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ أَلَّا تُشْرِكْ بِي شَيْئًا وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ. Make house, keep my house clean. Masjid should be clean. We sweep this masjid minimum 5 times a day. So it be clean here, alhamdulillah. Keep my masjid clean. और किसके लिए? For whom? للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. 4 things to do when you go there: tawaf, qiyam, ruku, sujud. You know the hadith. Every day, how many rahmat descend upon Baytullah Sharif? 120. How many for those doing tawaf? 60. How many for those praying namaz? 40. And how many for those just looking at Kaaba Sharif? 20. Just looking at Kaaba Sharif with muhabbat, love, adab is also showing respect, and you get tawaf for that as well. What if you were here at home and you looked at it on YouTube and you admired the house of Allah and you made dua that, oh Allah, this is your house, keep it safe. And Allahumma zid baytaka haza ta'ziman wa tashrifan wa takriman wa mahabatan wa zid man zarahu mimman hajjahu wa azzamahu wa sharrafahu ta'ziman wa takriman wa tashrifan wa mahabatan. You make this dua, Allah will give you so. Because you look at it over there, you look at it here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah is there for the taking. So even if you look at Kaaba Sharif on YouTube, you see the people doing tawaf, some qaris qiraat going on. You make this dua, Allah will accept your dua, Allah will give you sawab. So, Allah's house is ajib, amazing. It's got an attraction. Under the ayat, وَإِذْ جَعَلْنَا الْمَيْتَ مَثَابَةً لِلنَّاسِ, we made the house a resort for people. Hazrat Maulana Ali Mian Sahib Nadwi Rahmatullahi alayhi writes, Sheikh Yunus Sahib quoted from him, and he writes, Baytullah Sharif أعظم معابد الأرض. Baytullah Sharif is the greatest place of worship on earth. Nowhere do so many people gather so frequently. At the moment it's chock-a-block. In Ramadan, Taraweeh, Alhamdulillah, it looks like it's getting back to the good old days. Today someone sent a text that even in Roza Sharifa and Salam, they're not checking anything now. Everybody's doing, men and women. May Allah create ease. That's how it should be. It's Allah's house, Rasulullah's Roza. People should be allowed to flock there as much as they want. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu once made an announcement that people, when you come for Hajj, you should do ifrad, single Hajj. Don't do tamattu qiran. Then go back to your homes and come back for Umrah later on during the year. Maybe in Rajab, Shaban, Ramzan. He wanted people to frequent Kaaba more and more, so that people don't just come in one trip, do Umrah and Hajj and go, and then for 1 year nothing. And Kaaba Sharif deserted. Said no, Kaaba Sharif should be full throughout the year. Some people took from there that Hazrat Umar prohibited tamattu. He didn't prohibit tamattu. He can't prohibit something which the Prophet ﷺ allowed. His intention was not prohibiting, his intention was to increase the frequency of Kaaba Sharif. This is أعظم معابد الله. Ibrahim alayhi salam made it. Jibreel alayhi salam is the architect. Ibrahim alayhi salam is the mason and the builder. And Ismail alayhi salam is his helper and his mu'awin, khidmat guzar, khadim, attendant. So how beautiful will that house be when the architect is Jibreel alayhi salam. He's showing the foundations. And Ibrahim alayhi salam is making it. Ismail alayhi salam is helping him carrying the stones from Jabal Kaaba. When the house is made, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ. Ibrahim, announce Hajj. Ibrahim alayhi salam says, where will my voice be? Right? From here to there. Allah said, Ibrahim, your duty is to make the announcement. It's my duty to take the voice everywhere. Ibrahim stood on a hill on top of a rock. And then he called out, أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّ رَبَّكُمْ بَنَى بَيْتًا فَحُجُّوهُ. O people, your Rabb has constructed a house, so come here for Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took that voice everywhere, around the world, to those who were alive. And Allah took that voice to Alami Arwah, the world of souls. Why can't Allah do that? When this camera can, this microphone can. Who knows where people are listening? In Bolton, outside Bolton, in UK, outside UK. When we do zikr after Fajr, now after Zohar, this respected lady from Reunion, every day she joins us. She sometimes texts on Facebook, Maulana Sahib, Jazakallah for all the beautiful advices you give, and Jazakallah for the zikr. Zikr is here in Bolton and in Reunion. They are listening and following. This is why I said after Taraweeh, बोलने वाले महरूम हैं, बाहर लोग फायदा उठा रहे हैं. ये हमारे खुर्रम भाई मैनचेस्टर से रोज आते हैं. This can take the voice everywhere. Allah can also deliver Ibrahim alayhi salam's voice around the whole world and to the world of souls. And whoever said labbaik, because this announcement may come for Hajj, right? So when I call you, if there is register going on in the madrasa, your name is called out. Muhammad, what do you say? Labbaik. Sulaiman, labbaik. Musa, labbaik. So when you are called out, you say labbaik, right? So here as well, people say labbaik, labbaik, labbaik. We are present, we are coming, we are coming. Mufassirin say the amount of times a person said labbaik is the amount of time he goes to Makkah for Hajj and Umrah. It looks like some people said a lot of labbaiks. That's why they go every year for Hajj. Shaykh Yunus Sahib performed roughly 38 Hajj throughout his life. Sufyan ibn Uyayna rahmatullah used to live in Makkah. He performed 70 Hajj. In his last Hajj, he said to his nephew Hassan ibn Imran ibn Abi Uyayna that I have come to this Maidan Muzdalifah. This is my 70th time. And every time I say, oh Allah, don't let this be my last visit. Bring me here again. And now I feel ashamed because I've been asking too much from Allah. He didn't make that dua, and the following year he passed away. Kaise buzurg Allah wale the? Sufyan ibn Uyayna, the great muhaddis. He was originally from Kufa, but he migrated from Kufa, Iraq, to Makkah Mukarramah. He spent his whole life here. So people said labbaik so many times, they go for Hajj, for Umrah. Alhamdulillah, may Allah keep Allah's house abad, filled with people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about some respect for sha'air Allah. ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. The things that are landmarks of Allah, symbols of Allah, closely attached and connected to Allah, we have to have respect for all those things. If we show them respect, that means taqwa al-qulub, there's taqwa in the heart. If we have no respect for them, that means there's no taqwa in the heart. I'm not saying this, I'm just saying this. Sha'airullah means, let's say, Quran Majid Mushaf, Masjid, Kutub Diniya, Hadith books, Fiqh books, Ahlullah, Ulama, Sulaha, Mashayikh, Makkah, Medina, Kaaba, Zamzam, Safa, Marwa, Mina, Arafat, Muzdalifah, Medina Sharif, Masjid Nabawi Sharif. They are all things connected to Allah. They belong to Allah. They are attached to Allah. We have to respect them all. We have to respect Quran Sharif. We can't put it on the floor. We have to respect Masjid. We can't spit towards the Masjid. We can't sit down and urinate towards the Masjid. We can't face Qibla, Kaaba when we are relieving ourselves, urinating or defecating. In fact, one hadith says, if someone by mistake sat facing Kaaba, then he realized and immediately turned around, he will not stand up from that majlis before being forgiven his sins by Allah. Because he showed respect to Kaaba Sharif. So anything that is connected to Allah, our ulama, sulaha, mashayikh, alim-e-deen, sheikh, ustad, they deserve our respect. Anything that is sha'airullah should be respected. Quran said, لا تحلوا شعائر الله ولا الشهر الحرام ولا الهدي ولا القلائد ولا آمين البيت الحرام يبتغون فضلا من ربهم ورضوانا Those animals which are taken for sacrifice to the house of Allah, don't violate them. Even those camels which have necklace garlands around them and which are visible that these are being taken for sacrifice to the house of Allah. Allah said, respect those camels as well. Don't violate them, don't ride on them, don't drink their milk yourself. Give that milk to others, poor fuqara, masakin, because you have sacrificed it for the sake of Allah. And those who are visiting the house of Allah, musafirin, who are traveling towards the house of Allah, if they pass by your town, your village, respect them. This is why when Haji comes from Hajj, we are told to go and receive them and ask them to seek forgiveness before they enter their house. That's the word. إذا لقيت الحاج فسلم عليه ومره أن يستغفر لك قبل أن يدخل بيته فإنه مغفور له. When you meet the Haji, greet him and ask him to seek forgiveness for you before he enters his house, because he himself is maghfur lahu. Today, let alone going to Manchester airport to visit them or offer them a lift or bring them home, let alone going to the train station to pick them up. We don't even go to people's house for khajur pani. अब तो कोई खजूर पानी के लिए भी नहीं आता. पहले तो खजूर पानी का कितना शौक था. चलो मौलवी साहब आए हैं, मौलवी साहब के घर जाते हैं, जरा खजूर जमजम मिलेगा. बस 2 खजूर मिल गए, थोड़ी सी जमजम की गिलास मिल गई, दुआ मिल गई मौलवी साहब की. कोई लंबे चौड़े बिरयानी की जरूरत नहीं, सिर्फ खजूर जमजम मिल गया, वही गनीमत है. दुआए मग़फ़िरत कर दी उन्होंने. इसलिए कहा कि हाजी की भी इज्जत करो. In the olden days, if in the village or town one person went for Hajj, when he came back, his title was Haji Sahib. He was no longer Ismail Bhai, Suleiman Bhai, Musa Bhai. He was Haji Ismail, Haji Musa, Haji Suleiman, and his waqar and respect increased. This is why Allah said, ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Those who show them respect, this is because they have taqwa in their hearts. After this, Allah mentioned about Qurbani. وَالْبُدْنَ جَعَلْنَاهَا لَكُمْ مِنْ شَعَائِرِ اللَّهِ لَكُمْ فِيهَا خَيْرٌ فَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهَا سَوَاءً. Qurbani barabar karo. If you're doing Qurbani in Bolton, make sure you do Qurbani of a nice animal, large animal, expensive animal, with lots of hair, lots of flesh, lots of meat in it. Don't go for the cheapest option. People look for the cheapest Qurbani somewhere in Malawi, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, 15 pound, 20 pound Qurbani Bakara, 25 pound Qurbani Bakara. Try to do the expensive one, large animal. You can do a large animal, cow or camel, and feed many people. That is more virtuous. Allah said, جَعَلْنَاهَا لَكُمْ مِنْ شَعَائِرِ اللَّهِ. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned, this hadith is quoted, Allah knows best how much, but we quoting it, سَمِّنُوا ضَحَايَاكُمْ فَإِنَّهُنَّ عَلَى الصِّرَاطِ وَقَايَاكُمْ. Make sure your Qurbani animals are strong and heavily built, because they will be your ride on your Pulsirat. Allah knows best whether the hadith or not, but it's quoted in some kutubs. This hadith is in Sihah, that Prophet ﷺ would look for the best ram with 2 large horns, with massive, mashallah, figure, and would look nice, beautiful. It would have black round circle on its stomach, on its black color on its knees, and around its eyes would be looking really nice. He would look for that type of large animal, expensive animal. He would buy that and do Qurbani with that. Some Qurbani masail are mentioned. Then other masail. أُذِنَ لِلَّذِينَ يُقَاتَلُونَ بِأَنَّهُمْ ظُلِمُوا. Masail of qital fi sabilillah, fighting in the path of Allah. This is one of the first verses to be revealed فَقِتَالِ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Uzina, permission is given because you are Muslim. You have the right to defend yourself. Today, Muslim Ummah is Muslim. We can't even defend ourselves. In India, there's so much going on. These Hindutva zalims, they have the audacity to come in front of the masjid and announce on microphones, we're going to rape your women and we're going to do this and we're going to rip their bellies apart and we're going to murder and kill them. The police are not doing anything, government is not doing anything. There's so much going on. And Muslims are losing courage, becoming Musbil. May Allah give them some himmat to get up and defend themselves. Allah said, بِأَنَّهُمْ ظُلِمُوا. They are Mazloom. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى نَصْرِهِمْ لَقَدِيرٌ. You get up, Allah will help you. الَّذِينَ أُخْرِجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ إِلَّا أَنْ يَقُولُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ. They have been extradited for their homes just because they said رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ. We believe in Allah, Allah is our Lord. لَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُم بِبَعْضٍ لَهُدِّمَتْ صَوَامِعُ. If Allah was not to defend some people with others, there would be a chaos on the earth. Monasteries would be demolished, churches would be demolished, synagogues would be demolished, and masajid in which lots of zikrullah is done would be demolished and destroyed. But it is Allah who defends and who brings the ups and downs in the world, and He gets rid of some and brings others. وَلَيَنْصُرَنَّ اللَّهُ مَن يَنْصُرُهُ. Allah will help those who help Allah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَوِيٌّ عَزِيزٌ. I was going to mention some of these subjects. وَالَّذِينَ هَاجَرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ about hijrah, Allah talks about these types of subjects. Go on. And the last ruku focuses on shirk and tawheed. لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَوِ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ. If you call upon all the idols, all your gods, and tell them to create one fly, they would never be able to create. Can all the idols, the Butts, the Ganesh and Hanesh and Hanuman, can they create one fly? They're lifeless. They're made of stones. They're made of wood. They don't even talk. They can't do anything. They can't harm anyone. They can't benefit anyone. They can't create a fly. Allah said, in fact, if food, zarda biryani was placed in front of them like the Hindus do, jalebi and milk, and flies came and ate from there, the Buddha is there looking at like this, but he can't even move the fly from its food. وَإِنْ يَسْلُبْهُمُ الذُّبَابُ شَيْئًا لَا يَسْتَنْقِذُوهُ مِنْهُ ضَعُفَ الطَّالِبُ وَالْمَطْلُوبُ. يعني ضَعُفَ الْعَابِدُ وَالْمَعْبُودُ. The worshipper and the worshipped are both very weak and flimsy. مَا قَدَرَ اللَّهَ قَدَرِ. Hi, Allah is complaining to us. लोगों ने अल्लाह की कदर नहीं की जैसी कदर कर दी जाए. People did not value Allah as they should have valued Him. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَقَوِيٌّ عَزِيزٌ. Allah is qawi, strong, and aziz, mighty, and powerful. Allah يَصْطَفِي مِنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ رُسُلًا وَمِنَ النَّاسِ. Allah selects from the malaika some messengers and from people messengers. إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ بَصِيرٌ. Allah hears everything. Allah sees everything. يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُم. He knows what is ahead of them, what is behind them. وَإِلَى اللَّهِ تُرْجَعُ الْأُمُورُ. To Allah is the return of all affairs. Then ayat of sajda. And आखिर में अल्लाह कहते हैं وَجَاهِدُوا فِي اللَّهِ حَقَّ جِهَادِهِ. Struggle for the sake of Allah as you should struggle. Because He selected you. وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. He's not kept any hardships in your deen. He's made your deen very easy for you. إِلَّا تَأْبِيكُمْ إِبْرَاهِيمُ. This is similar to the deen of your father Ibrahim alayhi salam. هُوَ سَمَّاكُمُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. He it is who named you Muslims. مِنْ قَبْلُ وَفِي هَذَا. In the earlier scriptures and in this Quran. لِيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ شَهِيدًا عَلَيْكُمْ, so the Rasul can be a witness over you. وَتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ, and you can be witness over people. فَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, so establish salah. وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, give zakah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ, hold on to Allah. هو مولا, He is your Mawla and Master. فَنِعْمَ الْمَوْلَى وَنِعْمَ النَّصِيرُ, an excellent Master and an excellent helper. See how beautiful Surah Al-Hajj comes to us. Then Surah Al-Mu'minun. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون. These roughly 10 qualities, whoever has them will be the inheritor of Jannatul Firdaus and remaining in there forever. Number 1, Iman. Number 2, Khushu' fi Salah. Number 3, Zakat. Number 4, turning away from Laghwiyat, and then protecting the modesty, staying away from zina and all that bad stuff. And added in Surah Al-Ma'arij is giving the testimony properly and keeping up the contract and the agreement and the promise and fulfilling and giving the trust, repaying the trust to the person to whom it's owed. And again, pabandi, muhafazat upon salat. When people do these things, they will be the inheritors of Jannah. When these verses were revealed, Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made very humble dua. Allahumma a'tina anka warda anna. Allahumma a'tina wa la tahrimna. Allahumma akrimna wa la tuhinna. Allahumma a'tina anka warda anna. Allahumma aslih lana sha'nana kullah. La ilaha illa ant. And similar wordings of dua. Oh Allah, you are the one who gives. Please give us. Do not deprive us. Oh Allah, you give izzat and honor. Please give us honor and izzat. Do not disgrace us. Oh Allah, be pleased with us and make us happy with you and pleased with you. You be pleased with us, make us pleased with you. And oh Allah, reconcile and correct all our affairs and matters. Make everything good for us. He said, we want you to give us the tawfiq. Accept our du'as. Sahaba said, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen on the du'as of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Allah will give you Jannah, inshallah. When you have these sifat, you ask Allah in this manner. The Jannah itself will call out, oh Allah, bring this person to me. I am impatient for it. Hadith said, Innal Jannata tashtaqu ila thalathatin. Salman wa Abi Darda. I think Salman wal Miqdad wa Abi Darda. Or Abu Zar's name in there. Jannat is mushtaq. Jannat is yearning. Jannat has shawq for these three people. It wants them to come to it quickly. Salman and Abu Zar Ghifari and Abu Darda. So, some sifat of Jannah. May Allah give us khushu in our lives. As soon as we say Allahu Akbar, we should have Allah right before our eyes. Dhyan se namaz pado. Istihzar se namaz pado. Shauq se namaz pado. खुशी से नमाज पढ़ो बोझ समझ कर मत पढ़ो भारी समझ कर नहीं जी हारे ने यार क्या हर वक्त नमाज पढ़ते रहने का यार थक गए अब तो बहुत नमाज पढ़ ली ना ऐसा नहीं नमाज हाँ से अल्लाह की इबादत है then Surah Mu'minun starts from Mu'minun and finishes on إنه لا يفلح الكافرون وقل رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. Mu'minun are muflih and kamyab, successful, and the kafirin do not gain success, they are not kamyab, they are not successful. In between, many advices, don't have time to go in all those. I wish my tafseer which I did in Rahman was preserved in the cassettes or recordings, then you would have been able to benefit from it. Because that was my young days. I was a bit young. I used to do a lot of mutala. Also, my Hazrat was alive. My Hazrat's tawajjuh and du'as were there. My parents were alive. Their du'as and tawajjuh. So Allah used to open the heart and mind, and many, many new topics used to come in the heart and mind, and I would discuss them. Now I'm getting old. सफेद दाढ़ी हो गई है, अब तो मुताला भी इतना नहीं होता जितना पहले करते थे, सब बड़े भी चले गए, इनकी दुआएं तो जो पीछे नहीं है, वो कैसेट हो तो बहुत काम की बातें हैं उसमें। सूरह मोमिनून की तफसीर, सूरह नूर की तफसीर, बड़े उसमें मैंने बहुत मुताला करके खारजी मुताला करके की थी। सूरह नूर है, नूरुन अला नूर, अल्लाहु नूरुस समावाति वल अर्द। It talks about Noor. Let's give you a summary of Surah Noor. Surah Noor starts with Suratun Anzalnaha wa Faradnaha. Allah revealed this surah. Allah fixed the ahkam in it. وَأَنزَلْنَا فِيهَا آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. We are revealing in it clear-cut ahkam so that you may take lesson and heed. That's the first verse. And then Allah talks about, number one, zina. And the punishment for adultery, zina. Then Allah talks about a person who accuses a stranger, a woman, of fornicating. He has to bring 4 witnesses for proving the accusation. If he can't, he will be flogged 80 times for uttering something without proper proof. Then Allah moves on to someone who accuses his own wife, that my wife committed zina. He has to bring 4 witnesses. If he can't, then he has to come to Qazi and he has to take 4 qasams that he is telling the truth. And 5th time he has to say Allah la'nat on him if he is lying. Then she has to stand in the witness box and she has to take 4 qasams that he is lying. And if he was telling the truth, then Allah's ghazab and wrath be upon her. And then they will both be separated. She goes her way, he goes his way. They can never get together again. Finish. Allah provided the solution. Because the person can't say anything because he's not got 4 witnesses. He can't keep it inside as well. He's getting depressed. So he can come to the Qazi and this is the solution. Then if she brings a child, that child will not be related to him. He will be related to her. Because it's waladu zina. He doesn't want a waladu zina to be related to him. This is why the li'an is only when the husband accuses the wife of zina. If the wife accuses the husband of zina, there's no li'an in there. Because the husband is not going to bring a child and relate it to the wife. If he fornicated and that Zaniya brings a child, that's her problem. The lineage, the nasab will not affect the wife. So the best he can do is ask for separation, get separated, but she can't ask for li'an. Husband can do li'an, because if he doesn't, then the child will be related to him. If he does li'an, then she brings the child will not be related to the husband. This was accusation upon general women, accusation upon one's wife. Then innal ladina ja'u bil ifk, accusation upon the wife of the Prophet. Some hypocrites accused the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our mother, Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu anha, of doing bad thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got angry. He revealed 10 verses, 2 rukus in defense of our mother Aisha radiallahu anha. She is innocent. She didn't do anything. The whole story is there. Then Allah moves on to talking about when you go to someone's house, you knock on the door, take permission. Don't just barge yourself inside. The person might be doing something in private. He doesn't want anybody to see him. Allah mentions some adab of knocking and taking permission. Then Allah mentions some adab of lowering the gaze. Men should look down. Women should look down. Right? When you're sitting in front of non-mahram, in interview, don't stare at her beauty. Look down. When you're walking on the street, you're driving, don't look at women who are semi-naked. Their dressing is their guna, and your staring will be your guna. If they are nude, it does not give you the green light to stare. Allah says that كل المؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم. Both connected indicates that if you lower your gaze, your private parts will remain protected. But if you stare, then your private parts won't remain protected. You will start committing zina as well. You know the Urdu shair said, आँख से आँख है लड़ती, मुझे डर है दिल का, कहीं ये न जाए इस जंगो जदल में मारा. The eye can fight with the eye. I'm scared on the heart. If the heart falls in love, then in this battle, the heart will lose as well. It will fall in love with the other person. So the heart should not fall in love. But the other shair corrected him. He said, दिल की तकसीर नहीं है मगर जालिम है आंखें, वो जाके न लड़ती ये गिरफ्तार ना होता. The fault does not lie with the heart, the fault is of the eyes. If the eyes did not get contact and stare, then the heart would not be captivated, captured, imprisoned. So you have to start with lowering the gaze. Allah said, if you lower your gaze, you will remain chaste. Same thing for ladies. يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنَّ وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنَّ. They should also look down and avoid staring at semi-naked nude men in shorts, t-shirts, bare chest, in hot weather, in hot countries. Then Allah mentions the masail of hijab. Cover your bodies, cover your bustles, your hair. Don't reveal your beauty in front of strangers. Mahrams, who are your mahrams? Allah mentions some mahram. And then Allah mentioned nikah. وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ. Because nikah protects a person from zina. We started off with zina. To avoid zina, you have to do nikah. Hazrat Shaykh Yunus Sahib Rahmatullah Alayhi used to quote, say that nikah ko sasta karo, अगर जिना अगर निकाह को सस्ता नहीं करेंगे, महंगा करेंगे, तो जिना सस्ता हो जाएगा. If you make nikah expensive, then zina will become cheap and people will go on the road of adultery and fornication. Make sure your youngsters, as soon as they grow up, as soon as they are mature, you get them married so they don't fall in this bad route of zina, fornication, and adultery. Allah mentioned the masail of nikah. And then Allah came to the verse, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. This is to say, from beginning, these ahkam which were mentioned, if you don't abide by them, they will bring zulmat in your heart. If you do zina, your heart is filled with darkness. If you accuse someone, your heart is filled with darkness. If you barge into people's home, your heart will be filled with darkness. If you keep staring at the opposite gender, your heart will be filled with darkness. If you want to avoid all that, if you were to avoid all that, the darknesses won't come into your heart. Rather, the Noor will come in your heart. Allah will give that spiritual Noor to your heart. Just as Allah gives Noor and light to the sun and the moon and the stars. That Noor is nothing in front of the Noor of the heart. This Noor is more illuminating and more shiny than the Noor of the sun and the moon. It shows you, it guides you, it takes you along the road of Sirat al-Mustaqim. It will guide you towards Jannah. So Allah mentions that, Noor ala Noor. Where does this Noor, where can you get this Noor? In the house of Allah. Masjid fi buyutin azina Allah an turfa. How can you get this Noor? وَيُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ. Zikr will bring that Noor in your heart. يُسَبِّحُ لَهُ فِيهَا بِالْغُدُوِّ وَالْآصَالِ. Tasbih will bring that Noor in your heart. And لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة. Zikrullah, namaz, zakat will bring that Noor in your heart. If you have no iman, no namaz, no zakat, no Noor, then وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ. Kufr is darkness upon darkness. Allah mentions two types of kafirs, and the darkness they are plunged into. Some are moderate kafir, their misal first. Some are deeply rooted into kufr. Their misal is mentioned later on. أَوْ كَظُلُمَاتٍ فِي بَحْرٍ لُجِّيٍّ. Their heart is so dark. Imagine a person is on a ship. It's dark night. Storm comes. And the ship is rocking into the waves of the ocean. And all light on the ship is extinguished. There's no light. There's darkness of the ship, darkness of the waves, darkness of the clouds above, darkness of the night. Allah said it's so dark that the closest part to a person's body is his hand. If he was to lift his hand and try to look at it, he can't even see his hand, let alone anything else around him. Similar is the state of the heart of the kafir. The kafir's heart is so pitch black, he can't differentiate between haqq and batil. He can't see what is right, what is wrong, what is haqq, what is batil, what is true, what is false, what is correct, what is wrong, what is right, what is wrong. No ability to distinguish between the truth and false because of the darkness of the heart. A mu'min's heart and mind conscious is clear. He can see that zina is wrong, sharab is wrong, liwatat is wrong, guna is guna, sin is sin. He can see that there is noor in namaz, there is so much peace in namaz, in roza, in zakat, in sadaqat, in charity, in doing good, in amr bil ma'ruf, nahi anil munkar. He can feel the peace of zikrullah, tamanitul qalb coming into the heart at the time of zikr. That's the difference between the two. Allah mentions that in this ruku. Then Allah, alam tara anna Allah yusabbihu lahu. इंसान तू तस्बीह नहीं पढ़ता मत पढ़. सारी मखलूक अल्लाह की तस्बीह. परिंदे भी अल्लाह की तस्बीह पढ़ते हैं. The chirping of the birds is tasbih of Allah. Ajib verses. Allah explains these. Then Allah talks about Ita'atullah, Ita'atul Rasul. Innama kana قول المؤمنين إذا دعوا إلى رسول يقولوا سمعنا وأطعنا وأطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول. Necessary. If you obey Allah, if you obey His Rasul, His Noor will come to your heart. Allah will give you. Not only that, Allah will establish you on the earth. Some of these masail are mentioned. Again, Allah goes on to لِيَسْتَأْذِنْكُمُ الَّذِينَ مَلَكَتْ. Some masail are knocking on the door, taking permission. In Ma'arif al-Quran, Mufti Shafi Sahib states masail of telephone. There was no mobile at the time, otherwise Mufti Shafi Sahib would have mentioned masail of mobiles. He mentioned masail of telephone. He said you can knock how many times on someone's house? 3 times. On the telephone as well, you can ring only 3 times. And if the person picks up, okay. If he doesn't, no problem, put it down. And if he picks up and he says, I'm busy, then you should say, okay, no problem. You should ask first, are you able to talk? Okay. If not, no problem. Because if you knock on the door and they say from inside, well, we are busy, go back, come back later again. Allah said, if they tell you to go back, then go back. That will be more purer for your heart. Don't say, Allah, it's his house. He must be busy. He doesn't want to open it. He's not all there. His mind is not there. He's in some sort of tension. He doesn't want to meet anyone now. It's up to him. These days, people text, WhatsApp message, and they want instant answer. They look for the blue tick. हाँ मौसम में blue tick आएगा तो जवाब नहीं है वो. अरे भाई मौसम भी कहीं दिखी होएगी नहीं. मौसम ने माथा पर जो हत्तर लफड़ा हुई. फटाफट थोड़ा जवाब दे रहा है. Sometimes some masala needs a bit of research as well. So you need to think carefully before you answer. Sometimes if you answer too quickly, you could make mistakes. And in Ramadan especially, you have to read Quran, you have to do bayan, you have to read Taraweeh, you have to teach kids. So madrasa is still on, alhamdulillah, 5 till half 6. There's so much on our heads. So sometimes we can't reply to the WhatsApp message or text message or whatever. It takes time. Sometimes we forget, we think, chalo kasi jawab diya. So Allah Pak mentions here in the adab, you can't force someone to reply to you. Request them, remind them, next day, following day, some adab. And then the surah comes to a close. La taj'alu. Some munafiqeen, they used to come to the majlis of the Prophet ﷺ, and then their mind is here and there, and then they will sneak out. This sneaking out of the majlis without permission of Rasulullah ﷺ is classed as biyadbi, disrespect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned them. Also, some munafiqeen used to address Rasulullah ﷺ with disrespect. Allah said, when you call on the Prophet, don't disrespect him. Call him with respect. Don't say, Ya Muhammad. Say, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Nabi Allah, Ya Habibullah, Ya Abul Qasim. Address him with nice wordings. Don't call him by name. Say, Ya Muhammad. See, Allah mentioned the adab. Surah Noor is filled with adab. This is why Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha used to say, teach your women 2 surahs of Quran, Surah Noor and Surah Ahzab. I wish I was able to write the tafseer of these 2 surahs. Surah Noor, Surah Ahzab, especially for ladies. So, these are some masail, etiquettes, adab of our life. If we abide by them for our benefit, if we do not, then it's for our own detriment and harm. May Allah give us tawfiq to remain steadfast. Give us that special noor of heart, noor of iman, noor of amal salihah, that iman, that khushu in namaz, that staying away from laghwiyat, keeping up our words, fulfilling the rights of others, amanat, giving the amanat to those who are owed, and guarding our salat 5 times a day, having shauq for salat in our heart, loving namaz. We should have love for namaz. When that comes in our hearts, we like praying namaz. Whenever we get free time, we stand in front of Allah to pray namaz. If that becomes our habit, we will be successful. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Ya Rabbal Alamin, wa Rabbil Alamin. महज अपने फजल व करम से हम सबकी मग़फ़िरत फरमा दीजिए, पूरी उम्मत की मग़फ़िरत फरमा दीजिए। आपकी मेहरबानी, आपकी तौफीक से टूटा फूटा जो कुछ पढ़ा, अल्लाह इसको हमारे दिल में बिठाइए, हमें उस पर अमल की तौफीक अता फरमाइए। या अल्लाह कुरान पाक को पढ़ने, समझने, उस पर अमल करने, उसके मीनिंग और मैसेज को प्रोपेगेट करने और स्प्रेड करने की तौफीक नसीब फरमाइए। इन दोस्तों को वो यहाँ बैठे हैं जो घरों पर सुन रहे हैं, सबको उनकी मोहब्बत का बेहतरीन बदला दुनिया में भी अता फरमाइए, आखिरत में भी अता फरमाइए। हमारी टूटी फूटी दुआएं सुन लीजिए, हमारी ज़रूरतें पूरी फरमाइए। हमारी ज़रूरत को आप हमसे ज़्यादा जानते हैं, आप पूरा करने पर कुदरत भी रखते हैं। आप पूरा फरमा दीजिए, आप मदद फरमा दीजिए। दिल आपके कब्जे कुदरत में है, आप जो चाहते हैं वो हो जाता है, कर्म रखते हैं। मुक़ल्लिबुल क़ुलूब है, बैन इस्बाइल मिन असाबिर रहमान है। या अल्लाह हमारे दिलों को खैर की तरफ पलट दीजिए, हमारी टूटी फूटी दुआएं सुन लीजिए। रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम व तुब अलैना इन्नका अंतत तव्वाबुर रहीम। सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि व सल्लम अला सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद व आलिहि व सहाबिहि अजमईन।